All right, we're live. Welcome back to our daily live feed. As you are logging on, say hello, comment, like. If you are on Instagram, subscribe, turn on your notification. I'm sorry, if you're on YouTube, subscribe. Turn on notifications. That will let you know when we go live. And we do go live about 3 nights a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I'm back at you with another crown tonight. So if you missed this in my reel today, welcome you guys. And as we are waiting for everyone to get logged on here, as always, if you'd like to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits, and posing, all the fun stuff when it comes to competing. And today is the final day that you can get your ticket to Cuties Conquering the Stage at the early bird pricing. So that link is in my bio on Instagram. It is on my description box on YouTube. And the beautiful crown that I'm wearing right now is one of our lovely gifts that every single one of our ladies that comes to Cuties Conquering the Stage will go home with, because every single one of you are queens and you should look the part. That's why I'm wearing it right now. It's sparkling beautifully. To be honest with you, they look even better than I thought they were going to. So I'm pretty stoked about that. So we have 2 different types of crowns this year. This is the one that all of you are going to get. Every single one of you are going to get this with a nice little keepsake box. Look at the box right here. You'll be able to take it home in your beautiful little box right here. And we're going to do a little contest. So all of you wear your crowns home from Cuties Conquering the Stage, and then take pictures and videos and things like that, like going through the airport, TSA, that kind of stuff, and report back. And we'll do a prize giveaway with the most creative response, reaction, whatever we get out of you guys, wearing your crowns home, right? So this is the one that everybody's going to get. And then I showed you guys this like last week or the week before. These are our overall crowns. So some ladies will be taking home too. Like I said, y'all be prepared to take home a lot of stuff from Cuties Conquering the Stage. Just got to say, be prepared. Be prepared. Yeah, you do that anyway, right? Yep. So I know most people do. Most people wear them home anyway, but these are going to be statement pieces. So some girls will get 2 crowns. Maybe you'll be one of the girls that gets 2 crowns, right? Right? Maybe one of you guys will get 2 crowns. So this is one of our overall crowns right here. This one, this beautiful one right here. This is one of our overall crowns, right? And then this is one that everyone will get. This one right here. And if you can't tell, it's hard to tell in this light, but those are purple, which obviously is our company color. So you can see it's purple stones. See all that? Yep. So I'm going to wear this crown for the remainder of the live feed tonight because I feel like it, and I can. And that's the beautiful part about being me. So tonight's topic is twofold. Okay. We're going to talk about this weekend's shows. Okay, we're going to talk about because there's not a whole lot. There's one in India, and I don't know any of the competitors on that list. The one that does pop out at me is Bridget from Australia. I've seen her compete before. But other than that, I'm not familiar with any of the other girls. And then there is also the Masters Pro Show here in Baltimore, which I will be there, and we have several girls competing in both the Pro Show and the NPC portion of it as well. So let me pull up the pro list really quickly. And if you are on YouTube, say hello. Where is it? Hold on, let me find. I had the pro list up. What did I do? Oh, where did I put it? There it is. I lost it. Found it. Okay. Let me grab that. Okie doke. So if you were on YouTube, I have the pro list up, and I wanted to show this to you guys because they are doing every category except for wellness masters pros. Okay. There you go. Jamaica switched over. Yeah. Just so you guys know, for YouTube, I'm able to screen share. So on YouTube, I have like the pro lists up and I can put pictures up and things like that. So can't do that on Instagram, but we can do that over here on YouTube. So if you're on Instagram and you want to see what we're screen sharing, go ahead on over to YouTube. I do suggest you subscribe, turn on notifications, because then you'll know when we go live. So I wanted to share this because you can see here, they've got every female division except for wellness. Now, the reason why they don't have wellness is they just started awarding wellness Masters Pro cards just this past year. So it's only been about a year, maybe a year and a half, that they've been doing Master Pro cards for wellness. So they just don't have enough Masters Wellness Pros yet to be doing a lot of these shows. But it'll come. It'll come. Cover that too. So keep that in the back of your head. So I just kind of wanted to show you the list. They do have, obviously they have men. So the way that this show works is the men are in the morning and then the women are in the afternoons. The women start at 3 and the women start with pros and then NPC. So you can see they've got women's bodybuilding, over 35, over 40, over 50. And actually both of these ladies are local. I know them very well. See them at shows all the time. And then we've got figures. The figure list for over 35 is pretty decent, right? We've got a pretty good level of competition here. I'm actually really familiar with Kate Greavely. She and I competed on the amateur level all the way up. I did her makeup several times while shooting. Just won her pro card this past year. So I've known her for a very long time. She actually came to Kitty's Conquer the Stage one year too. The other ladies on this list I'm not really familiar with. Moving on to over 40, same thing. As you can see here, I wanted to show. There's not a whole lot of difference in the names from over 35 and over 40. And we're about this going into bikini, it's like that too. As you guys know, I actually think that Masters shouldn't start until you're in your 40s. I don't believe that at the age of 35, you should be considered Masters. That's just my own personal opinion. And the main reason why is because the bodies still look the same at 35 as they do when you're 30. You know what I mean? We've had several Olympia champions over the age of 35 in these categories. So I personally don't suggest women start competing in Masters until they're over the age of 40. Once you're over the age of 40, then you can start looking at how your physique changes and how your physique looks next to the other ladies. Because what happens is you start getting a different level of muscle maturity. And so your body starts looking a little different. At that point, that's when I think you can assess and see if you should be going up to Masters or if you should stay in the open. And ladies that work with me, they know I will tell them straight up if they should do Masters or if they shouldn't. I don't know if Jennifer's on here or not, but she's a great example. She's over the age of 35, but I don't believe she looks like she's a Masters competitor. So I don't want her to do Masters. That's just my 2 cents. So as we go through this, you know, the numbers start dropping off once you get over 50, obviously. That's typical. That's typically what happens. And again, going into over 35 here, we have a lot of the similar competitors from 35, 40, but notice 40 is the medius class, right? And that's the reason why. And actually we have quite a few 50 over here too, quite a few 50. So I'm here and always trust your advice. Yes, Jennifer does always trust my advice. I love it. So I agree. However, I will be competing at Legion Sports Fest Masters 35 next year. There you go. You know, and here's the thing, like you have to, everybody's going to be an individual assessment. You know, there's benefits to both and there's negatives to both. So, you know, I tell people specifically, we will sit down and talk about it and say, okay, this is where I feel like you are going to make your most impact. You know what I mean? And you are the chef. There you go, Andrea. Well, you're in a little different category too. You're in fitness. So Andrea, there's a different level of competition in fitness than there would be in bikini or that there would be in figure. It's different, right? So again, you have to look at your own self personally, but you also have to look at your division too, right? So yeah, 50 and over is becoming stacked. The 50 and over is becoming stacked in bikini. Not so much when we're looking at other divisions. And again, I'm going to talk about why that is. Let me backtrack a little before I get too far into 50s and stuff like that. So, so the over 40 and the over 35, you know, these ladies tend to be somewhat similar, right? So Aisha Cooper is one of our girls that will be competing, and she actually won a pro card in wellness, but she's going to do bikini in this show because there is no wellness. So so with that said, the reason why, again, I don't think that the bodies really start changing much as far as look and hormonally and things like that until you start getting into your 40s. There have been several ladies in their 40s that have done very, very well in the open category for bikini. Same thing with figure. There's a lot of women in their 40s that do very, very well in open figure because of that muscle maturity that you actually get better at when you get older. So, like, for example, with figure, Camille Perriot is now retired, but she was a top 10 Olympian twice when she was in her 40s. And she's still, I think she's 43-ish, 44-ish at this point. But she was in her 40s and she was top 10 at the Olympia. Angelica Teixeira, when she won the Olympia title, she was either 34 or 35 when she won the Olympia, won it, right? So again, think the 35, right? She's like 37-ish at this point. So it's been a few years since she won the title. So she was right on the cusp of that Masters bikini age when she was winning the title in bikini. Okay. So then you look at other ladies like Erin Stern. Erin Stern is 41. Oh, actually, I think she might be 42 now. She's 41, 42. Jessica Wilson, who will be coming to Cuties Conquering the Stage, she's 41. You are still very viable in open, I believe, all the way into your 40s, as long as, and here's the caveat, and here's where we're going to get into the 50s, as long as you have kept yourself in relatively good condition and shape pretty much your whole life. And what I mean by that is you haven't had these big swings in weight. You haven't gone really off the board with your metabolism, things like that. You haven't had a lot of, I guess, significant, I don't know how to exactly word this, but if you keep yourself relatively stable throughout your entire like 20s, 30s, 40s, you're still going to be very competitive when you get into your 50s because you don't have a lot of things to fix. Does that make sense? You've kept yourself stable. You've kept your hormones stable. You've kept your body weight stable. And I'm not saying you can't like go up 10 pounds or anything like that. A lot of these women have had babies and things like that. Totally fine. What I'm saying is, in general, for the majority of their lives, they've kept themselves pretty healthy and pretty even keeled. If they've been able to do that, then they can still be incredibly competitive even when they're getting up into their 50s. In bikini specifically, because it is not an extreme look. You don't have to diet way down and you don't have to bulk way up, right? It's a middle ground. If you've kept yourself stable, you can be very competitive even when you get up into your 50s, right? Jen is over 30. Jennifer Ronziti is 40. So Jennifer Ronziti is 40. With Masters or being over 40, what are some of the physique changes to expect? Say if someone stays within 5 pounds of stage weight throughout career, is it still a pretty solid look on stage? I'm 34, yeah, I look 19 or 25. I'm a candidate too, and CPA has 35 as Masters. So yes, in general, what happens, typically first thing that happens is you see changes in the skin. You see changes in the skin, specifically like the legs and the glutes. It's a lot harder to get that glute to be full and tight and round and not have sagging skin. That is the first place I specifically see it when it comes to the aging process kind of coming into play when we're talking about going from an open competitor to a Masters competitor. Nowadays, with the way that we can work with Botox and fillers and all sorts of skincare stuff, girls in the face that are in their 50s can look like they're in their 20s. That's not a problem at all. Where you start to see the changes really is in the skin, specifically in the body skin, and specifically on the glutes and the hamstrings. So that's where you start to see changes happen. You start to see muscle maturity happen, which can be a good thing. Like if you're a natural athlete, once you get into your 40s, you could actually be hitting your stride at that point because you have the muscle maturity that you didn't have when you were younger. So there's not a ticking time bomb here. Like if you're taking good care of yourself all the way through your 30s and 40s, you can still be very competitive in the open. as long as you're taking good care of yourself, right? I'll use myself as an example as well. You know, I just turned 41. When I was 36, I did one show as a Masters Pro. I did one, and it was against my coach's judgment. He told me not to. He told me not to do it. He said, you are going to look like a baby next to those girls. And the reason why was because of my muscle maturity. My muscle maturity didn't look like a Masters competitor muscle maturity. My muscle maturity was much more on par with the open competitors than I was with the Masters competitors. And he was right. I placed better in open than I did in Masters because I just looked soft next to the older ladies. I just looked really soft. And I didn't look like I had enough muscle. So, so you have to make sure you got somebody that can see that kind of thing on you as well. That's important, right? It's just body, skin tightening, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to add to full body. So, and that's the whole thing. Like, you've got to take care of yourself as far as the skin is concerned. That's, for me, that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest dead giveaway of somebody that's creeping up in age. And there's a lot of treatments out there nowadays that didn't even exist even 4 or 5 years ago. Right? Some stuff that I do just as a daily regimen. I have a red light therapy panel. Like, a lot of people will go use a red bed, that kind of thing. I have red light therapy. I do that every other day. And I've really seen some significant changes in the collagen production in my skin from doing that more frequently, making sure that you're keeping up with all your skin vitamins and things like that are going to help with your hair, your skin, your nails, all of that. Collagen is really, really important. So you got to make sure that you're doing things to help with the production of collagen in your skin, which will help you look younger. There's lots of creams out there now. I use a few of them. There's a few, and there's like medical grade, like the prescription strength stuff that you can do now that does help. It does help to extend the length and youthfulness of your skin, right? They do exist. So you just have to go out there and find what's going to work best for you, right? And by doing all of these things, you can extend your life as a competitor in the open class, right? And this is why, again, going back to the strategy thing that I'm going to be going into even more depth with when we're at Cuties Conquering the Stage. This is why I suggest that women compete in their age range and 10 years below. This is why. Because if you are keeping up with all these things, you can still be competitive with girls that are 10 years younger than you, or even more for some people. For some people, even more, right? So just some things to be aware of here. So I just wanted to kind of go through this list really quickly. We've got a lot of ladies competing, even all the way up to bikini over 60, right? We do have over 60 age range now for bikini, and they look good, you guys. Some of these ladies that are over 60 will go into the over 50s and win. I've seen it happen. They look great, So again, this all applies to these women as we get up into the older age ranges, right? And they do have women's physique as well. So like I said, the only category that they're not doing for the women is wellness. Oh, and fitness too. So fitness gets harder as you get older because of all the joints and injuries and things like that. It's really hard to do fitness as you get older. Like Whitney Jones is an anomaly. I think she's 42, I believe. She's somewhere 41, 42, something like that. And the fact that she's still able to even walk is crazy. Y'all put bodies through hell in fitness, man. Joints and aches and pains and injuries and all that kind of stuff catch up. So it's hard to do masters once you get into that the age range, just because of injuries more than anything else. Just like the same thing as guys with football and stuff like that. There's a reason why they all retire once they get into their 30s. Basically, they're beat up. So the other thing I wanted to mention about this particular show, again, we're not going to go into each competitor and things like that. Some of these women are brand new, like they just on their pro cards this year and things like that. But 2023, there will be a Masters Olympia. There will be a Masters Olympia. Now, we don't know a whole lot of details about it yet. What we do know is that it's going to be in Romania. So for those of you that don't know, the Wings of Strength, they are the ones that own the Olympia, all that kind of stuff. They are their biggest show, I think, at least from the ones I've seen, their biggest show is in Romania. I believe Elena Papa, if I'm not mistaken, is she from Romania? I may be speaking out of turn on that one, but she's one of the main people for Wings of Strength. And I think she's from Romania. So that might be one of the big reasons why they're doing it over there. But they have the big Romanian Muscle Fest. So they are going to be doing the Masters Olympia in Romania next year. They don't have a date yet. I think they were talking about either somewhere August, September, October, or something like that next year. But there will be a qualification series. There will be all of those kinds of things too. So be paying attention, because this is going to be a big thing for those of you that are Masters athletes. This gives you something to work towards and something to ascend to next year, right? So for those of you that do want to compete in Masters, that want to be competitive in the Masters circuit, once you are in your 40s and 50s and 60s and things like that, there is going to be an outlet for you to actually ascend to. And I do believe you have to win a show in order to qualify and things like that. But again, I don't think they have the qualification system out yet. At least I haven't seen it, but I do know there's going to be one. So that's pretty cool. So keep this in mind as we're going into next year, because we're going to have to start talking about these kinds of things. And we're going to start talking about people that are going to be qualifying for the Olympia, the Masters Olympia next year. Okay, so that'll be a whole new set of things, whole new set of qualification system series and all that kind of stuff going on. So yeah. And, I think they're going to do over 40. I believe you're going to have to be over 40 in order to do the Masters Olympia, but I could be wrong on that too. There's just a lot of details they haven't put out yet. But there will be a Masters Olympia, which is awesome because, like I said, as I was just saying through this whole thing, I believe women that are in all the way up into their 40s can still compete in the open. So once you do start having those changes and you do start seeing your skin change and you see the things I was just talking about, it's not like your competitive career is over with anymore, right? Now you're going to have somewhere to go. Now you're going to have something to compete for, right? So I think that's pretty cool. There is a huge segment of Masters competitors in our sport, and I'm really excited that there is going to be a outlet for that more than anything else, right? So keep that on your radars. Keep paying attention because we will see some more stuff come out about that. I'm sure, and actually probably the next couple of months, they got to figure all this stuff out, especially if there's going to be a qualifying series for it. They're going to have to qualify people for it, obviously. So, and that's something too, like within the next couple of months, that kind of thing, we're going to start seeing more updates for this coming season, meaning qualification updates and how they may change rules for next year and things like that. We'll see that start happening in the next couple of months here. So be paying attention. Okay. And of course, I'll be here to tell you. Of course, I'll be here to tell you what's going on, right? So it's going to have such a pinnacle to reach. Most Masters ladies feel pigeonholed. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you start seeing the same ladies showing up a lot at a lot of these Masters shows because, that there's nothing else to go for. You want to have something where you can ascend again. I think that's one of the reasons why Masters is so popular at the national level, because so many people want to ascend to the next level. They want to earn that pro card. So now that you're pro circuit, now you're going to want to ascend to the next level again. You're going to want to get to that Masters Olympia, right? If you win a Masters Pro card, can compete in Open or only Masters. Once you win a pro card, any type of pro card, you can compete anywhere. Doesn't matter. It's the pro league, period. So even if you win your pro card in Masters, you can compete in Open. Now, what I say as a caveat to that is you better be competitive in the Open classes as well as Masters when you win your pro card in order to be able to do Open. Right? Does that make sense? So I've had several girls that have actually won their pro card in Masters, but they've also done Open at the same time and placed top 5 in Open or something like that, right? So then that tells me they're still going to be competitive when they go into Open on the pro level, right? Oh yeah, I technically I'm a Masters competitor myself at 41, though I'm not going to say I'm a Masters competitor until I decide to make that change for myself. So I got to give love to the Masters ladies. I work with a lot of y'all and I want to see you guys succeed. You know what I mean? So So technically I'm in that age group too, but like I said, I'm gonna be open until I start getting that muscle maturity, because I don't have it, still don't have it yet. So until I start getting that muscle maturity, I'm staying it open, because that's otherwise I'm gonna be too soft. So it is what it is. So with that covers this weekend. So like I said, there is a show in India, but we don't really know any of the competitors in that one. So I'll pay attention to the results on that one and kind of pull it up next week if we have some pictures and things like that we can look at. Let me see if I can pull up this. Mind blown, Jennifer, amazing. Jennifer, look at 38 in February. Oh, yeah. Jennifer being 38. Yeah, Jennifer's one that I told her she doesn't look Masters yet, so she's not allowed to go into Masters yet. And she's turning 38 in February. So she's not allowed to do Masters because she doesn't look like she's Masters. So, I'll shoot you. She can attest to this. She wanted to do the show this weekend. I told her no. So I told her no, she doesn't look Masters, so she's going to stay in open. So just saying. So this is the Shrew one. So there is bikini. The only name that I'm actually familiar with on this list is Bridget from Australia, because again, she's competed a few times this year, so I've seen her compete. But everybody else I'm not familiar with. Oh, no, Natalia. She's also an Olympian right here. So okay, so she'll probably take your win right here, I would guess. She's been placing top 5 this year, so I'm guessing she'll probably be your winner right there. I used to open just to be on stage with Olympians, but over that, I stay in the lane. There you go. Yeah. Jen don't look Masters at all. She doesn't. Jennifer does not look Masters at all. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a significant difference. You can tell when somebody looks like they're a Masters competitor versus when they look like an open competitor. So, you gotta, and just like Karen said, she stays in her lane. She likes to go into open just because she wants to stand next to the Olympians. And that's a realistic goal when you're in your 60s. You know what I mean? That's a realistic goal. That's great. I think that's fantastic. It's pretty cool that you get to do that. But then she understands that she's in her 60s. You know what I mean? So there's nothing wrong with being fantastic at your age. Let me just put it that way. I talk to Masters women all the time. You have to understand that those of you that get on stage when you're in your 50s and in your 60s, you are a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percentage that can even dream to do it, right? You guys are the elite of elite when it comes to being an athlete. There are so few women that can actually even attempt what you do. You should be damn proud that you're up on that stage at that age, right? It's a huge, huge accomplishment. So keep that in mind, okay? Keep that in mind. Right? Pinkle. Baby face Pinkle, right? Yes. So with that, the remainder of this topic is actually brought on from Pinkle, from Jennifer. So we were talking about this earlier today, and the remainder of this live feed is in regard to why keep your show dates silent? Why keep them quiet? Why not talk about your show dates, right? So for those of you that are on live here, go ahead and type into the comment box, and tell me reasons why you would want to keep your show date quiet, right? And what we were discussing earlier was the people that kind of like hint at their show and then don't actually say what their show is, or are not going to say what their show is, right? And I will give my own self as an example, because I did that. But I have a very specific reason why I did that, right? So the reason why I personally did that is because, as you all know, I have a lot of clients. And whenever I go into a show, I want to go into a show and focus on me and not focus on my clients. Sorry, guys, I love you, but when I get on stage, that's about me. I actually answered this in my question box yesterday in my stories too, because there was a show that my husband and I did together, and it was terrible because I wasn't able to focus on myself. And again, that wasn't anything like a knock on him by any stretch of the imagination, but it's me and my personality being a presentation coach. I was focused on making sure that everything he did was good to go, because I helped him with his tan, his makeup, his posing, everything. I did everything for him. So in my mind, I was not able to disconnect and become a competitor. I was a coach. So when I go into a show, the reason why I keep my show date quiet is because I don't want my clients showing up. I don't want I'm there. So that was specifically for New York because I knew that being relatively local, if I told everybody that I was doing that show, they would all show up, and I didn't want that. I wanted to be selfish. I wanted to be by myself. I didn't want to have a ton of distractions and things like that. Now I don't give a shit. I don't care. Y'all can come to every show you want to at this point. I just needed to have that me time. I just needed that. So that's why I kept my show dates quiet. So may need to change the date due to body reasons. Let's see. I'm looking at all these comments, and I'll kind of say some of them here. So people trying to sabotage you, other girls at the gym in case it changes. Aiming for you might not be ready. I'll keep it quiet for no external pressure. My only guess is what Holly said. Aiming for you might not be ready in case it changed. People try and sabotage you because it may change. Aim for that show in case something happens, i.e. body doesn't respond, etc. Less external pressure, and you're ready when you're ready. First time competitor, so wasn't confident if I was going to be ready. No loss of plans. Change because we have shows every weekend. Self-imposed pressure to do well. I thought you meant, what did I mean? Surprised I was there. Yeah, you were there, Holly. Yes, no pressure. Some may not be ready by their show date and might be embarrassed. They have to answer questions about why they're not doing their show. Trolls up to coach. So the first thing I'm gonna address is the sabotage and trolls thing. And I'm gonna just be honest with you, that's a you problem. That's none of them problem. There are always going to be outside pressures. There are always going to be things that you can allow to get into your head. You need to not allow them to get into your head, right? And I know that's difficult to do. This is actually one of the topics, like for Q's coming to the stage, we have Celeste coming in, and we're going to be talking about mental training and things like that. This is one of the things that we're going to be going into so that you can better mentally prepare for prep and for shows and things like that too, because that is entirely here. That is entirely right here, right? I don't know what happened to me over the course of the last decade, but I could give two shits what people think about me anymore. And it was a problem. Like, I'm not going to say it wasn't a problem at one point. It was a problem when I first began. It was a problem when I first became a pro. It was a problem. I had too many expectations that I felt like I needed to stand up to. And I felt like people were out to get me, all this kind of stuff. In reality, that wasn't the case at all. That was all in my head. Now, I don't care. But you guys know I share the good and the bad of everything that I do. So even when there's an issue, even when something happens that I didn't want to happen, I'm honest about it and I tell you about it, right? For me, that gets rid of any kind of expectations and pressure, and nobody can sabotage me because I'm doing it myself. Like you can't hurt something that's already hurt. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? As far as how I'm saying it, I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly, but hopefully that makes a little bit of sense here. If you feel like people are trying to give you, here's another one, unsolicited advice or pressure you or whatever, those kinds of things, there's this beautiful thing, and you can do this on social media and you can do it in real life. And it's called the block button. Block and get rid of them. You can do it on social media and you can do it in real life. Get them out of your circle. You don't have to listen to people that are trying to give you that kind of stuff. They're trying to troll you, or that are trying to give you unsolicited advice. I don't even entertain that stuff anymore. I literally don't even entertain that stuff anymore. I'm just like, okay, you have a bad opinion of me or whatever. That's cool. Block. Bye. I don't need to listen to you no more. Right? Shake my head and dusting off my shoulders. Not allowed yet. They're that intrigued. Everyone is living in their own bubble. If they're that intrigued by your course, that's their issue, and they may need to get a life. There you go. I like that one. I'm going to show that one. That's exactly what I was trying to say right there. That's right. If they're more concerned about you than you are about them, that's their problem. So they said a long time ago, it always stuck with me was the more you put yourself out there, the more people might just not like you. Fuck them. That's right. Okay, some people just need to show them what they got. And when they're showing, because what matters is show day and how you show up on that day, talk your talk and claim your day. Humbly. Humbly. Yes. But that's the whole thing too. Now, I will say I understand the concept of not wanting to share a show date because of not sure if you're going to be ready or not. I get that. I understand that. But here's the thing too. So let's say that you're one of these people that are like me, where you show your progress, right? Let's say you show your progress on social media or whatever. You tell people your progress all the time. If you're doing that, tell them, say, listen, I may be doing this show, but if I'm not ready, then I'm not going to do it. Because you know what will happen when you do that is people will relate to that. People will relate to that and say, hey, maybe I don't have to push myself quite so hard to the point of I'm getting to dangerous measures and things like that. I can take a step back, and it's okay to do that and move on to the next show because she did it like that. Right? You can actually be an inspiration to other people by doing that, because you're not failing. You're just adjusting your plan, right? You're just adjusting. And being transparent about having to adjust can actually help others say, oh, that's okay to do, right? It's okay to not be like gung-ho, balls to the wall 24/7. And if I'm not hitting my goal, to do unhealthy things in order to hit it. Make sense? Right? Don't let people live rent free in your head. It only bothers you, not them. That's right. Absolutely. It only bothers you, not them. That's correct. That's right. That's right. 100%. So true. You never know who's inspired by your journey. Absolutely. You have no idea who may be getting something from the fact that you feel like you're failing. Right? Because they may look at that and say, oh my gosh, I feel the same way. I understand what she's going through. I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that feels like this, right? So you can actually inspire people by doing that, right? Now, one of the reasons why I do, that's a quotable. Yes, it's a quotable. One of the reasons why I do like to share my shows is because you get support, right? It's because you get support. And the people that don't support you, again, going back to what we just talked about, there's a block button. There's a block button. Get rid of them. That's it. You don't need to entertain them. Get rid of them. So when you do share what you're doing, when you do share your show dates, you get support. Whether it's just online support or they come to your show and see you in person support, which I thought that was awesome that, Jennifer and Holly and Jared, they all came to New York. I let a few people know that I was doing New York ahead of time. People I knew that I could trust that weren't going to be like up my ass, because they weren't up my ass at all. And we had a great time. We had a fantastic time. You have to understand your people too. You have to understand the ones that can take it and the ones that can't. So, you end up having support. You end up having a support system, right? Yes, I just want to cheer and not miss the day, virtual or in person. That's right. And there's something to be said for that too. There's something to be said for those that really just want to help and want to cheer you on. They want to be there and want to be a part of your success. I know that's one of the things that we've kind of gained through the cutie community is, we've gained a support system. We've gained a support system. When I did Dallas, the cool part about going to Dallas is that I had clients that lived there that I got to hang out with while I was there. Morgan and her boyfriend, Kelby was doing the photography at the show. So she was able to get me videos and pictures, all sorts of stuff backstage. That was awesome. We've built this really awesome community, and I had support there. At that point, I was sharing my shows. At that point, I didn't care. I just needed to get New York out of the way. I needed to get that one out of the way. And now, again, I've had people ask me, what's your next show? I don't know. I don't know what my next show is. But I'll tell you what, once I have made a decision, I will be letting you guys know. Because I share my progress even in off season now, because I can't tell you how many girls message me and tell me that they've learned something from just paying attention to my weekly check-ins. And I have a higher purpose in this sport than just winning a show. While that's great and that's what I'm going for, that's my ultimate goal, I want to inspire people that are struggling just like I've had to struggle. Right? Sean, would you say Wait, hold on, I missed a couple. Hold on. And when you show good and bad, you make yourself relatable because people aren't seeing just highlight reels. Correct. That's right. And they feel like they can trust you because you're being honest. Not everybody has just a highlight reel in their life. You know what I mean? Sean, would you say that Instagram, social media is a good thing to have for support, etc.? Being a bikini competitor in general, I feel having IG is almost necessary to have for competing. I like having social media for competition weekends because of the support system. But again, I've created a support system around me. I don't have trolls. I don't have problems with negative people. I don't have problems with negativity at all on my social media because I don't put that out there like that. That's not my vibe. And when I do get people that comment that kind of stuff, like I said, I block them and I delete them. Boom, done, out, bye. You know, so that never gets that. It's, you know, how they say that one bad apple spoils the bunch. Well, I never have a bad apple. I throw the bad apples away. So all I got is good. So for me, it's a benefit. For me, it's definitely a benefit. Having Wendy, Miriam, and Charlotte to support meant more than my win because I felt love. Absolutely. Having the people that you care about there, absolutely, that makes a difference. Wear your CCTS crown of inspiration proudly. That's right. Got to wear that crown. Got to wear that crown all the time. Yes, the support is so immeasurable. People you never even knew were cheering you on. Found that out this weekend, and meeting my girls at CCTS, Yolanda and Steph, and us going to each other's shows. Yeah, you guys end up like traveling together and things like that. And you're all in different areas of the country, but you all come together through this sport, which is awesome. You know, that's an awesome piece of it. And I feel like without that, you're kind of missing a big part of what makes this sport great. You know, I can hear Jen screaming. So funny story about that with what Holly just said. I can hear Jen screaming. So whenever you watch the New York Pro, so there's a live feed for it and everything like that, but you can't hear the audience at New York. They have, you know, music playing. But anytime that you saw me in my routine, and you can see this on my Instagram, when you see my routine on my Instagram, my very first pinned post, anytime you saw me get a big, huge smile on my face when I was in my routine, it was because Jen was screaming. She's the one that made me smile like that. You need cheerleaders, you guys. Let me tell you. And I didn't smile like that when I was in Dallas because I didn't have Jen screaming for me. Yes, we know what it's Jen, and she legit cheers for everyone. She does. She cheers for literally everyone. So there's a few people like Jennifer and Jasmine that you just like, you want to pay them to be at your show to cheer for you. That's fantastic. Literally, you can see the change in my face in those videos. You can see it. You can see anytime. Now that I've told you this, you all have to go to my personal Instagram and look at that very first pinned post from my routine at New York Pro. And anytime that my face got this big, huge shit-eating grin on it, it was because Jennifer was screaming in the audience. I knew right where they were sitting. Even before I got on stage, I knew where they were sitting because she was screaming for everybody else too. She's got a side hustle, right? Yeah. So I say all this because this is something that can help you actually create a cheer system. If you're out there, you know, putting your show dates out there, if you're putting yourself out there, yes, there are going to be those that are going to just look on and troll, like just look at you from afar. The ones that say shit, just block them. Everybody else, they can just watch. Let them just watch. But I promise you that the ones that are actually paying attention to what you're doing, 9 times out of 10 are because they want to support you, because they want to see you do well, and because you may be inspiring them. You may be inspiring them without even knowing it, right? The welcoming committee. Yep, Jennifer is the welcoming committee for sure. She embodies what it means to be a cutie right there. That's what it's all about. It's all about welcoming people in 100%. And when you find those people, like they really will be the ones that help you see past and get through the problems that you may have of having those people that you feel like are sabotaging you, or having those people that you feel like are trolling you, because the people that are screaming for you and cheering for you are so much more powerful than any troll ever could be, right? They're so much more powerful. The positive aspect of it is so much more powerful, right? So remember when I heard Jazz loud and clear in Miami. Yeah, there's some real deal cheerleaders. Absolutely. Yes. So funny story, like, because there's some people that just have that voice that carries, you know what I mean? So Cutie's come from the stage 2 years ago when we had to do it at the shop because of the restrictions and capacity and all that. It was hard for me to get everybody's attention when we were in the gym because it was so loud in the gym. So I had Jasmine. I was like, Jasmine, you have to be my voice right now. And I would have her scream, which would get everybody in line for me because I couldn't do it. I couldn't get my voice to be that booming. Like her voice just carries. So my laugh carries, my voice does not. So it's valuable to have those cheerleaders. It is valuable to have those cheerleaders. Absolutely. So anything else that you guys can think of that would be a positive to sharing your show dates, a positive to share what you're planning on doing. I can think of one more thing that is a big positive to sharing your show dates. Anybody else? Let's see if anybody can get it. If they can't get it, y'all can't get it, I will share it. But let's see if anybody can get it. I'll give you guys a minute here. And while we're waiting, I'll just stare at this beautiful crown again. My gorgeous, beautiful crown that y'all are going to be able to take home. So there we go. Holly got it right there. Accountability. Boom. That's it. Accountability. There, beyond all of the reasons that I've mentioned before, there's a very real reason why I share my check-ins every week. It keeps me accountable. It keeps me accountable. I know that I have to do that every week. If I share my show that I'm shooting for, you better believe I'm going to get my ass in gear to be in shape for that show. Now, of course, things can happen that are outside of your control. Body doesn't respond how you want it to, whatever. But it's not going to be because of something I didn't do. Because I've kept myself accountable. You better believe I'm going to put 110% into it to hit that show date that I just committed to. Accountability. Once you have settled on a date, lock it in. Lock it in. Accountability. Networking is great too. That's another point that you just mentioned there, Brandy. Show promoters, if you are like tagging their shows and things like that, they're going to share your stuff 9 times out of 10. So that can help to build your network. 100%. That can help. Yes. Absolutely. I know a lot of promoters really encourage that. They really encourage you to share your progress because obviously they want to show their own show. Like they want to promote their own show. So if they can promote the athletes that are coming into their show, that's a huge thing. Even as an NPC athlete. Pros, absolutely. Pros, you can bring in people, right? Which, as was just mentioned here, sponsorships, if you are able to draw people to these shows, that means you're valuable and you can be valuable to potentially a company. Could be a company that's at your show. Could be a company that's just following your progress. Yeah, that can absolutely show your value. Right? I get that all the time. I get people contacting me nonstop. I don't accept the majority of them, but I get people contacting me nonstop about the whole sponsorship and all that kind of stuff because of what I share. You guys know I'm very particular when it comes to what I actually use and what I don't, but I get that all the time. Facts, and it doesn't mean you're conceited sharing if you're doing it with the right motive. So don't worry about what people think. Know your heart and shine. Absolutely. 100%. That Band-Aid is going to hurt. Rip it off. Yep. Rip that Band-Aid off. Yes. Holly knows this. I've said this to pretty much every new competitor out there. At some point, you got to rip off the Band-Aid and you got to get on stage. Boom. That makes you do it. That makes you do it. Agree. As long as we know ourselves and our true intent, that's all that matters. That's right. That's right. Yeah, you're never going to please everybody out there. So work on pleasing yourself. If you're happy about what you're doing, if your intention is in the right place, if your heart is in the right place, if you're doing it for the right reasons, that is what matters. Screw what everybody else thinks, right? They can think what they want to think. Let them be miserable if they want to be miserable. And on your end, you block them. So what have we learned tonight? Block them. That's what we've learned tonight. Oh, goodness gracious. Anything else that anybody wanted to add to this? I think we covered this pretty well. Hopefully it'll give you something to think about. If you are in prep now, or if you're looking at prep soon, if you're going into the new year, a lot of people will be getting into that time frame where they're going to be looking at shows. Have this in the back of your head as to why you might want to share your prep, right? Why you might want to share what show you're shooting for, right? Find the things that rob your confidence and your certainty and do less of those. Spend that energy on you 2.0. Absolutely. Yep. That's the thing too. Actually identifying the negative pieces of your life, that's important too. For sure. 100%. Yep. And get you a community like this, right? That's why I do this stuff. As you guys know, when we get on live here, it's always the same core group of people come in here. And then we get a new one that comes in every once in a while and they get to ask new questions. And now they're part of the little cutie community. And then we get another new one that comes in and they get to ask questions. And then they're part of the community. You create your support system. You create your web of people that are going to hold you up. Right? This was awesome. This was a good topic. Thank you. Glad you guys enjoyed it. Just came out of a random DM conversation with Jennifer today. So I figured I would expand upon it. That's right. There you go. There's Melissa right there. That's you. That's for sure. I just shared my show for the first time on socials today, right on time. I was nervous. Yes. See, but you pulled that Band-Aid off. You did it. You did it. That's what's important, man. Just getting out there and actually pulling off that Band-Aid. That's what I said about myself this past year. I'm like, I just got to rip that Band-Aid off and get back on stage. Now that I did, I'm good. Now I'm like, okay, now I can focus on all the little things I need to do, getting my glutes to where they need to be, all this kind of stuff. I needed to get that Band-Aid ripped off and get back on stage. Right? He's featuring Jared, right? Yes, absolutely. Love it. Oh, man. So with that, you guys, I'm glad you enjoyed this topic tonight. Hopefully it was a lot of really good information that you can take and apply to your everyday life. And also just realize, like I was saying before at the beginning of this live feed with the Masters Olympia, we got goals no matter where we are in this sport, right? So I wonder what sparked that convo. Somebody not sharing their show date is what sparked the conversation. That's what it was. Right on time. You're doing the work every day. Be proud. Shout it from the rooftops. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. So as I was saying, this is your last chance for early bird tickets, you guys, tonight. That's it. That price is done after tonight. Every single lady is going to take one of these home. Every single one is going to take one of these home that comes. Our main big, huge crowns for the overall wins and titles and all of that is this one right here. This one will be going out to a select group of ladies that win titles, but everybody will be getting one of these. That's our preview. That, if those of you that are just joining us, that's why I'm wearing a crown tonight. So if you haven't gotten your ticket, you got till the end of the night tonight to get it at early bird prices. Okay. What else? I'll see you guys this weekend. If you're coming to the Baltimore Masters Pro, I will be there for the ladies. Yeah, probably won't be there before that because I got to get them all ready for show day. But I will be in Baltimore on Friday. So I'll see you guys there. Yes, awesome swag. This is just the start, you guys. As you guys know, I trickle it out over the weeks going into the actual weekend itself. So y'all have seen some of it. You've seen some of it, not even close to what we got going on this year. So it's going to be fun. Going to be fun times. If you want to work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. If you're with us here on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Turn on notifications because that will let you know a half hour before we go live. You get a little notification there for that. Comment, like, all of that stuff helps our algorithms so we get seen more. And other than that, I will not be on tomorrow night because I'll be getting ready to go to Baltimore on Friday. So I'll be there from Friday, Saturday for Baltimore Pro. This week alone, a few ladies I want to cheer for didn't disclose their life, their rules. I respect that selfishly. I want to cheer though. There you go. That's what's inspired the topic tonight right there. Just so excited for CCT. Yes, everybody just come. Yes. Most everybody that's on this live feed right now will be there. So that's exciting. So again, you guys get to know each other a little bit before the whole weekend, which makes it like coming home to family when we all get there. So I hope you guys have had a great week so far. Happy hump day. I will be back on again live on Tuesday next week. I'll get lots of footage and stuff like that from this weekend's show to share with you. And then we'll be off to the races again next week. So have a great evening. And for those of you that'll be in Baltimore, I'll see you there. All right. I'm going to X out of Instagram first. And then